We lost the last minute this match, but we compete well. We were close to draw. We were trying to win the match as well with the players I chose, trying to get good impact. But of course they did the same, and they scored it, and we didn't score. And overall in 90 minutes, of course, they dominated more, but we played very good competitive match, and we had our chances as well. We had to accept it, take a lot of positive things. Now is moment to try to be positive. Everything we are doing, I am going to analyze the match, try to get a lot of information through it, but use positive things for Saturday in semi-final and try to separate now each competition. We are going to play against Fulham in 10 days. Now we are trying to focus quick and positive the match on Saturday.
It is a very quick turnaround. Talk to me about the positives then. What did you take from this tonight that you can take into your remaining fixtures?
We analyze, and of course everything we did before as well. We got a lot of positive information about everything tactically, individually, and try to get full energy, positive energy for Saturday.
What have you said to the players at full time?
The same. And I am sending here the message is be positive, try to accept it, and we can't waste time now. We have to keep going and be positive and prepare the match for Saturday.
You've been in football so long, you know it's all about moments. You had those moments 17 seconds in with Marcus, could have scored, hit the post, and obviously they go and win with probably the last moment of the game. It's so intense, these Champions League places, these European places which you want to be competing in next season. You still have every chance of getting where you want to be.
Of course, we are playing in this level, and we want to try to keep the level we are achieving last year, 2 years ago, this year, and try to be very, very demanding in our way, how we can build as a stronger structure in everything. And today we play, we compete. I am so happy with the play, how they did. We lost, of course. I am disappointed, but I can't waste time.
You can't waste time. Can this drive your players even further and get even more out of them in these remaining fixtures?
Tomorrow rest, day off, and Thursday, Friday, positive and work hard to prepare the match against Crystal Palace.
Will you rest?
Yes, I will rest tomorrow. Yes, a little bit.
Well, enjoy your rest and good luck this weekend. Thank you.
So I think the last minute games winning belongs Liverpool, especially. How many times with Jurgen in the last minute scores, Arsenal as well with Mikel. We are not used to. So I'm really, really happy, for the goal that we scored at the end, because we are in the last 4 or 5 games and with a Champions League contender, qualification, like is Aston Villa, like is. Aston Villa is a team like in the last month proved is one of the top of the best teams in Europe, and we play really, really good in all departments. In our aggressive, in our duels, the back four was unbelievable in all departments. So yeah, I'm really pleased for the game we played.
You just kept going, and in that 94th minute when you scored that winner, and you talk about you haven't had that feeling for a long time. What was that feeling like to have it back again?
Come on. So football is emotion. The feeling for the fans, for the players, for ourselves, so how important. We have a lot of pressure, for the club go to the Champions League next season, and the last 2 games, Everton away and here Aston Villa were so difficult, and the players behave unbelievable. So we are really pleased in that terms.
I think you celebrated for more than half a minute. I've never seen you jump so high.
I was so happy, yeah. I have to admit it. So that's moment I said, okay, try to don't lose the game, because 1-1 is not a bad result, but it's not bad. But the action from Jeremy, I know how he can create something for his pace, and after that it was brilliant, and we arrived players in the box, a lot of players. So football, if you are in this business to live the disappointment, but always the good moments.
But also, when you talk about that word and emotion, you use that word emotion, you go through every emotion, but at the end, to have the emotion that you have, it's what keeps you going.
Yeah, it had to do. So the team fought a lot, so the performance was really, really good in all departments. It's a team like they can play, they can run, and how they associate each other. So it's a fantastic team. And we were able to do it.
I know you don't look back and think it hasn't been the season you wanted to, But all the players now have accepted that, and it's clear they've accepted that, and they are going and they are driving forward to what can be achieved. When you look at it, do you think this could be a real special season, bearing in mind you've got the FA Cup as well?
The season has been bad. So it's not always going to happen the last month and a half. So the season has not been good. It doesn't matter where it's the final, with the incredible tough against Nottingham Forest or qualification for the Champions League. So the reality is that. So what make you feel the season is good is the Premier League, not the Champions League, not the FA Cups. It's the consistency in the Champions League and in the Premier League. We have not been, but it happened, you know. And sometimes you have bad seasons for many reasons that everybody knows. But you try to, until the end, to try to avoid the damage, and of course you can qualify for the Champions League because look the team. So Liverpool was already champion, will be champion, and Arsenal. What can I say? But look the other ones: Chelsea, Aston Villa, Newcastle, ourselves, and Nottingham Forest now come up. So the level of that teams is outstanding. So that's why always made this step to go there is really important. Okay.
Very quickly, but you have the semi-final this weekend, an opportunity to go to the FA Cup final. You have this great opportunity now to play in Champions League football next season, which is what you wanted it to be. But you've just spoken about the feeling and having it back, and how important is it to have that feeling back for this stage of the season with the remaining games to go?
No, since the Bournemouth game in FA Cup, the team changed. We can play good. In Old Trafford, for example, we don't play good. In the game against Everton, Wilson Park, we didn't play good. But we fought, you know, we were there, we tried to win duels, and that is the principle. And this season we didn't have that. We didn't have the energy for many reasons, for situations that I know perfectly. We didn't have that. But okay, never is late, and good lesson for the next season.
Keep smiling, Pep. Enjoy the weekend.
I will.
He was just about smiling. He certainly wasn't smiling as much as he was at this point, which is when that goal went in. Manchester City's latest winner at home in the Premier League since November 2022. It came on 93 minutes and 21 seconds. Incidentally, for comparison, Sergio Aguero's winning goal that won Manchester City the title, 93 minutes and 20 seconds. That's how late this goal was. But he said we don't get that feeling very often at Manchester City. Only two teams have scored more goals than Manchester City this season in added time. So he's used to that feeling, but maybe not that kind of tension in terms of what he's trying to achieve, and that sense of relief.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the standards they've set over the last 3 or 4 years, and they've just come off it. I think he's been really harsh on his team there with his comments in. It's not been, well, obviously not been consistent. They had a tough start, obviously a huge setback with Rodri, and they've not been at their very best. But that was always going to happen. But I still think if they can win the FA Cup and get in that Champions League.
And the players will say, we need to recover from this. We need to focus again on the remaining fixtures, the FA Cup semi-final, the 4 remaining Premier League fixtures. But how hard is that to do?
Well, it might be helped that now they can go into the FA Cup and just step back from the league. And we mentioned before the game about your big players turning up. That was a big mistake from their experienced goalkeeper as well. You don't need that at this stage of the season. You're thinking maybe 1 or 2 of the young players might come up short. But when you look at your spine of your team, your rock-solid players who've been there and done it,
for the opening goal,
for the first goal, sorry, you don't need them big mistakes. But Villa are a decent group, and this is where they'll step. They'll recover from it. But this is the opening goal, and we talk about poor defending again from Villa. Players just not quite doing their jobs. Come down to his weaker foot. Silva, Shea's mentioned the goalkeeper. Good movement from Man City. Would do what they normally do: dominate possession. Didn't probably have a real cutting edge, but they created them 1 or 2 moments, 1v1s. In a tight game, you have to be able to go past somebody. We saw that for both high over the last few years, that any sort of drop-off kind of does look back. But if you step back, and I'm sure Pep will with the staff, come this summer, look at the bigger picture and go, you know, considering all the setbacks and disappointments we had, even missing Haaland tonight, this group of players have dug in. For all their qualities, you've got to dig into the professional footballer, and they've done that again tonight. I'm not saying they were brilliant to watch or creating loads of chances, but they found that bit of will and that spirit and somebody off the bench to create something. It shows a good mentality from their subs. I thought probably Villa's subs lacked that when they came on. I don't think they gave them any sort of impetus. So So that's why I would give all the credit to City tonight.
Yeah, it's been unusual for Villa not to get any kind of momentum from their subs. That's something that's worked for them so far this season. As for Manchester City, can both things be true for City, Shay? The fact that it has been overall a disappointing season, but from where City have been at times this season, that to qualify for the Champions League and win the FA Cup can make it to bring a degree of success.
Yeah, it's kind of like the perfect storm, as Roy mentions the injuries and you know, they're 4 times Premier League champions in a row. At some point they're going to drop off. They're going to be a bit of a dip. The team will need rebuilding. Of course, Pep will have to do that over the summer as well. But they're third in the Premier League. It's not like a crisis. They're sitting halfway down the table. They're in an FA Cup semi-final at the weekend. You know, again, the likes of De Bruyne will leave in the summer, and I'm sure he'll want to leave with his hands on one, the final trophy. But it's not been a disaster. I mean, Pep has not always looked at his happiest this season. I mean, that celebration was the most I've seen him celebrate probably ever, you know. But again, it shows how much he still loves the game. He's emotionally involved with the football club, and I'm sure he does want to be part of the rebuild and bring the good times back. Not that it's that barren at the minute, but you understand what I mean. Bring the Premier League title back to this football club. But yeah, there's been a lot of key players missing, and he mentions Rodri. You know, it's such a long time ago now, but he's the Ballon d'Or winner. Like he's a top player, missing all season. But you know, it's Liverpool's time this year, and City, I'm sure, will bounce back next season.
Yeah, Pep Guardiola.
A keeper of his experience has to save it.
Even with the slight deflection.
Yeah, there's a bit of luck involved as well. Comes off Conce's ankle, and I think that takes Onana out of the game here. Look, it could go anywhere. But yeah, there's no getting away from it. Emi Martinez will look at that and go, you know, that's a save that I would expect to make. We do think it's an OG because he parries it onto his left foot and he more or less kicks it into the goal. I think he should parry it out this way towards the camera for a throw-in or something. It's poor goalkeeping error, but again, first goals are so important in a tight game like this.
It is Bernardo Silva's goal. Just
okay. I keep trying to give it to Martinez.
You do keep trying to give it to him, but it is Bernardo Silva's goal. Look, there's a penalty here, and there will be a sense of vindication from Manchester City's point of view that they get the winner in this game because they were not happy with the award of this penalty. What did you think?
Well, we've watched it a few times. I know they'll argue that he got a touch in it, but he still takes him out. To me, I keep looking at it, and to me, I feel it's a penalty. Pep, of course, now they'll move on because they've won the game. There would have been a bit more controversy if they ended up a draw. But the players are looking at the screen here.
That picture, sorry, is really funny because Tielemans, it's been shown on the big screen, and Tielemans points up and goes, "There's a foul." And Diaz is the opposite reaction. He goes, "Not a foul." So I think it's the right decision.
Yeah, not given on the pitch, but VAR sent Craig Pawson to go and have a look at it. And then Marcus Rashford, with a big moment in his Villa career, a former Manchester United player, or on loan Manchester United player, coming up against Manchester City. But Pep Guardiola is still furious and got himself booked for his protests. In terms of Marcus Rashford's chances, this one, the first of them, came after just 17 seconds. How involved was he in this game?
Yeah, he was a threat tonight. This is a bit unlucky, but I thought we might see it. He had a really big chance in the second half. But he's a threat. When there's grass behind Marcus, he's as good as any player. When he's running in behind, there's moments here we think a better touch, decision making. I still think areas he can improve on. But when he's making runs of that and he's getting that service, you ask the defenders, Marcus is a nightmare to play against. And he's got that hunger and desire to run into it. Now I look at this chance, I'm certainly not no striker, but when I see him making that run again, fantastic, almost impossible to stop. I'm thinking, could he shoot there? Could he just hit it first time? I'm sure more strikers probably say, yeah, he goes around him, but it's a tougher angle. But look at his movement here, a little layoff, and it's almost impossible to stop. Once he's got grass in front of him, he's impossible to play against. And this, is he a little bit unlucky? I think he should maybe hit it first time. And again, another huge moment in the game. Yeah,
and there was a lot of pressure on him coming into this game because there was all the noise around Ollie Watkins and the fact that he was on the bench. Marcus Rashford preferred to him in the starting 11, and whether or not that was justified, the conversations, they were going on anyway, and then he comes up against Manchester City and has to take a penalty. Yeah,
I mean, he played well. Them chances that Roy's just shown, he played really well. I mean, a bit of luck in the first minute, it hits the post and goes in. And I think Roy's on the right in that, right? So Stefan Ortega's come out. He's a wee bit in no man's land. If he comes on to it, hits the first time, he's got a great chance of scoring. When he takes that big touch, he narrows down his angle then, you know, so it's a more difficult chance. But, you know, games swing on goals, don't they? And if Villa gets their noses in front, then it could be a different outcome.
And there are so many moments that those players will be going through as they make their